I'm seeing shortages here in vinegar, mayo, dairy, canned goods. We got a lot of shortages coming to the front. We're starting to see some issues with potatoes, even here in Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania. We got a lot to cover. We went to Aldi, went to Walmart, and Sam's Club, just looking at what's on the shelves, what's not on the shelves. Also, of course, you guys send me reports in all week long, so I'm going to compare some of that to what I'm seeing here in Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania, and you'll be able to see it with the pictures of what's going on the store shelves. Without further ado, let's jump right into it. Aldi, and first things first, seeing the gallons of white vinegar, 1 gallon left, and that's it. Now there's the smaller Tuscan Garden, smaller bottles of vinegar, but no other big gallons. And also when it comes to, they had the name brand vinegar, mayo, right? They had the Hellmann's there, and then they also have the Miracle Whip. But when it comes to the Berman's, which is the generic mayonnaise at Aldi, they didn't have any of that either. So that might be also a vinegar issue there too, but we're starting to see just more and more vinegar problems. We did a video a while back on vinegar and why we're seeing shortages out there, and it's because the industrial side does not have enough, and so what they're doing is they're pulling food grade vinegar into the industrial side of things. So even though they make some of that, the industrial, off of petroleum products, they can also make it off of grain and that type of thing, which is used in food products. So we're seeing the food vinegar being drained for the industrial. So when it comes to dairy, things like cottage cheese, there was none on the shelf. Also, we've been seeing issues with French onion dip for some reason out there. Aldi lost its generic French onion dip, and then they've been having trouble even keeping the name brand stuff, hell of a good dip, on the shelves. So that's just seeing these empty shelves at Aldi is kind of eye-opening. Campbell's condensed chicken noodle soup. Just the fact that they're running out of chicken noodle soup, Campbell's chicken noodle soup, is kind of eye-opening. What is up with that? Now, with our other reports during the week, make sure you do let us know what you're seeing on your store shelves. But potatoes, canned potatoes, not quite as much as we're used to seeing here. But there's still a bunch here, right? But usually this is much more stocked, and we're being a little more sensitive to that because we're seeing issues with potatoes in general out there, because the potato harvest last year was smaller, and the year before that was smaller, and we've been kind of having this buildup of issues with potatoes at the end of the season before we get the next harvest in. And so we're kind of expecting to see some spotty outages of that. On the canned goods front, in Aldi, things look fairly good, stocked. Now this store is in a ritzier neighborhood, and so they always seem to be better stocked than the other Aldi that I often go to. But still, this is fairly well stocked, right? Now, one of the things, they did move some things around. You can see that this tuna is where the rice used to be, and so that's kind of a bit of an issue. The new area where the rice was is smaller. There wasn't nearly as much rice as I'm used to seeing there. Also, the tuna is not fully stocked. So both in oil and in water, just a couple cases, and that's about it. Especially the tuna in water on the left, a lot shorter there. When it comes to seasonings have been drying up really bad at Aldi. Just a lot less seasonings on hand, but they seem to be doing fairly well with salt, whereas Walmart is having issues with stocking salt. Again, we have corn oil and canola oil, but no vegetable oil, no blue-capped soybean oil. Now, some of you are rejoicing, singing a happy dance because you hate soybean oil, but that just when people stop being able to eat certain things that you don't want to eat, that just means they're going to start buying up what you do like to eat, and they're going to start driving those prices up and make shortages happen. We're seeing spotty outages on olive oil, both at Walmart and here at Aldi, as you can see. One of their generics, the lower end priced olive oil is gone. Quick Oats, they had one box, a couple other things, but a lot of empty space with the oatmeal. These A number of those don't have their caps on them, which is why people are passing up on them. There's a few in the back that do have their caps on still. But just oatmeal was kind of low. They have a number of different varieties there, and just having one variety, and that just of the generic. All right, so chicken, just noting the prices here. Chicken breast, $2.29 for generic. More name brand or higher quality, $3.79 a pound. That's just high, you know what I mean? That's not how much it used to be. Also, they had lots of bottles of water, but they didn't have gallons of water. That was unusual. So they just had this empty pallet here in case you wanted a gallon of water. Before we move over to Walmart, we do want to thank our sponsor, Genesis Gold Group. And this is a great way, if you have retirement funds, you want to invest in gold, silver, platinum, whatever, metals, you can actually avoid the collectibles tax with this. That's one big thing that we don't often talk about, but if you just buy it without having a portfolio and you get hit by taxes when you sell it, Genesis Gold Group with the retirement accounts does actually get around that, so that's a nice perk there. There'll be a link at the end of the video that you can click on to get some more information from them about what you can do with your retirement accounts. Canned meat section, they've really blurred what is meat and what is not meat. That's just like how they're blurring different bathrooms and stuff like that too. Anyway, so we got meat-like products here. More and more of these are vegetable-based and less meat-based, but one of the things that we'll note here is that the canned chicken is actually quite low. So we'll just keep moving along there. They have a fair number of the 2-packs, but they were really low on the 4-packs. So there's 5 4-packs down there, and that's it. A lot of empty space, and then when it comes to the single cans, lower stock there too, a lot of empty space. That's canned chicken that you're seeing gaps there. Vienna sausages, there's smaller space accorded to them, but the space is filled. Less spam, like flavored spams. So there's that, but other than that, we're just seeing Keystone. It seems to be fairly well stocked. Keystone pork is non-existent. You can't get it anymore, at least around these parts. So that's what another one of those gaps right there next to the Keystone ground beef is Keystone pork. They just can't keep it on the shelf. So that, and then the baked beans. The canned baked beans was relatively low here at Walmart. I haven't seen them that low for quite a while. Baked beans is a great thing to stock up on because it's relatively cheap, and also they come in bigger cans. And they take the beans and then they just add a whole bunch of sugar. So that's high calorie. So that's actually pretty good stuff. So if you wanted to get more calories into a can of beans, into the water, you dump a bunch of sugar in there, and that's actually a great thing to do. You can actually have baked beans and white rice, and it's not too bad. It's kind of sweet, which is kind of a little odd, but it's actually pretty good. Soy sauce was low, and that's something we're seeing here. A lot of the other, like chili sauces and that kind of stuff, were fairly well stocked, like Tabascos and hot sauces. Mashed potatoes were low. The boxes of mashed potatoes, as you can see, there's few of them. And then when it comes to the packets of mashed potatoes, especially the generic, there's only a few options there. And they were very low in stock as well. So that was kind of shocking to see the mashed potatoes as low as they were. Cookie dough and like pre-made doughs for biscuits and stuff like that, fairly well stocked. But there were more holes than what I'm used to seeing, so that's why I kind of grabbed that picture. Dairy was definitely a lot lower than what I'm used to seeing. Less sour cream, less dips. Cottage cheese seemed to be fairly good, but then when I got over to the milk section, this is what greeted me. A lot of empty shelves there. Still the products there, unless you wanted 2% milk, then you're kind of out of luck. There's a little bit of 2% there, but then chocolate milk and everything like that, low again. The The coffee creamers actually seem to be fairly well stocked. Now, some of that is kind of fronted, and if you look at it, there's some gaps behind them, but the front rows are pretty well stocked across the board, so kind of dairy issues, but not extreme. Butter was definitely low. So when you look at the blocks of butter, definitely low. Certain varieties out. So we can clearly say some stuff going on with dairy. Cream cheeses, we've been watching them just recently, the last couple weeks. Cream cheese is low, and as we go into Christmas and holiday seasons, a lot more cream cheese gets used up, and we may see some more serious shortages of cream cheese going forward. So I'll definitely keep an eye on that. Let me know what you're seeing in your area with cream cheese. With sandwich lunch meats and sausages and stuff like that, things did not look too bad, but some of the hot dogs looked a little low, so I'll keep an eye on that, but I haven't seen too many hot dog issues in the last month or so. Back at the beginning of the summer, we're seeing a lot more hot dog issues. As we're coming out of the hot dog season, we should maybe not be seeing quite so much of that. Pasta section, definitely low. Seeing a lot more gaps, a lot less stock of pasta, particularly rotini, penne. Some of that's fronted, just something's... We were talking about that just the other day, about how the pasta shortage is coming because the durum wheat, that is what's used in pasta, is just not worldwide. We had some really bad issues over in Europe as well as the United States. Now, sugar, again, you guys are saying you're seeing sugar shortages all over the place. Here, I didn't really see that much. The pallets were full of the cheap generic stuff. This is low, but you know, there still was sugar, and I haven't really seen issues here yet, but some of you guys are saying that you're seeing issues where you are. So if you need sugar, you might want to just grab it when you can find it, because apparently there's some spotty issues out there. We shouldn't really have that big of an issue with production, but India is talking about having a export ban on sugar, and that will probably put a little bit of a dent in the market. But that will be mostly cane sugar, beet sugar, which is what the generic white stuff is. That's not going to be too bad. Flour looked fairly well stocked here. Less than what I'm used to seeing, but they also did expand this area. So take that for what it's worth. Vegetable oils actually looked fairly decent over here. Now they did take over some of the soybean oil section and start putting canola oil there. If you look in that middle shelf there, it's historically been the right side has been the green cap, left side has been the blue cap, but the fact that we have that whole middle section there taken over with the canola oil is interesting, to say the least. And then you look on the far right, down on the second shelf, you see all that canola oil. The gallon jugs are fronted. That's also interesting. So on the surface, it looks well stocked, but then you realize that they did massage this section to make it look better. When we're looking over at the olive oils, I'm seeing some of the issues with some varieties of olive oils are having some shortages. Salt being an issue over at Walmart. Iodized is a little better than the plain salt. Used for canning, of course, you need the plain salt for canning, and just not seeing very much of that out there. Other seasonings, you know, just some varieties are out. MSG is becoming a little harder to find, so that is what it is. Canned fruits and canned we already looked at canned vegetables. Canned fruits, still low, but they're doing their best to kind of make this section a little smaller. They've taken up some more of the section, but there's still gaps there. Coffee creamers, powdered coffee creamers are a little low again. Coffee itself looks fairly well stocked, but a little lower than what I'm used to, but it looks like they're doing their darndest to kind of keep that stocked full, and there's plenty there still, so I'll let you know if that changes, of course. Peanut butter section, generic peanut butter is disappearing at rapid paces. I think that's really just people shifting their their purchases. They're moving away from the name brand, moving over to generics, and they're just having a hard time keeping up with that. Mayo over at Walmart looked a little bit better. A little bit low, but you can see in the back there that they did fully stock some of those shelves, so just looks like more people buying that. I guess more kids back at lunch, taking bag lunches to school or whatever. The salad dressings, this was actually pretty shocking, seeing how low the salad dressings were. That's a lot less than what we're used to seeing. Take that for what it's worth. Rice and beans, they exist, particularly the pinto beans. You can still stock up on the pinto beans. There was a time during the cough that we could not get pinto beans. But rice is looking like it's in more shortage, but there are still options there, still cheap options. Vinegar, really low here as well as over at Aldi. So be warned, be warned. Vinegar is looking even worse than what it has in the last number of months. When we get over to the frozen food section, we can see gaps here and there. Those are pierogies. For those of you who don't know what pierogies are, try them out. You'll like them. Anyway, pizzas, there are some pretty big gaps in the pizza section, frozen pizza section. Frozen potatoes, seeing more gaps in the potato section than I've seen in the last month or two. So hopefully that's not a trend that's going to accelerate, but with the potato shortage, that may very well happen. So we'll keep an eye on that. Other, what's that, dinner rolls and bread items, seeing issues there. Potatoes seem to be fairly well stocked here at Walmart, but those bins are kind of empty. So I'm not sure if we're moving in the wrong direction here, or if they just didn't get those stocked really well this morning. Whatever. Please do keep your reports coming in. Just use the word update in any one of your comments on any one of the videos on this channel, and let us know what you're seeing. Give us some sort of geographical location as well. There's a link on the screen for Genesis Gold Group that you can fill out your information, and they'll send you a packet of information, and they'll get in contact with you. Also on the screen is another video from this channel. Thanks so much for watching. Steve Poplar of the Poplar Report, out.